Hello, loves. Hello, hello. Hills here from the Blue Flame. How are we all doing in this woo powerful, potent, all the words that I could possibly share that involve movement and transformation and exclamation eclipse wormhole. I shared in my last update some of the energies of the equinox and the Libra full moon eclipse, which have already passed. Just a couple of days ago, on the 1st of April, Mercury has now shifted retrograde at the exact midpoint of the two eclipses on the It's not the eve. There's a word I'm looking for. Sorry. Mercury's retrograde, remember? Sometimes we can have a little trouble finding our words. And that has actually just been one of the energies of this particular eclipse wormhole for me as well. Part of it is that we are experiencing an activation, a calibration of the lines that connect our emotional and mental bodies. This, when we feel into the energies of Libra and Aries, we can start to connect to this, that sense of self energy, that solar plexus energy of Aries, and that mental body balance in energy, relationships to others energy, that is the hallmark of Libra. Libra is also very connected to luxury and what we value. So as we're navigating this current portal, and this is all year, but in particular during this eclipse energy, part of what is being activated for us is a remembering that our emotional body and our mental body are not two separate things, but are of the same frequency. What we feel, what we think, how we express ourselves is very connected, and that's also Libra energy, Mercury energy as well. How we express ourselves can be very connected to what we feel. If we over-identify with an emotional state, everything that we create is coming from that. It also is that place where we navigate. You know how when you're feeling really sad, you want to listen to sad music, or when you're feeling really happy, you want to listen to happy music, or if you're getting ready to go out for the night and you need to get pumped up, you listen to some music that creates that energy in your system. It's the same sort of thing. When you're doing that, part of what you're connecting into is that the frequency of your thoughts and the frequency of your feelings are interconnected. So let's wheel this in a little bit more. As I said, on the 1st of April, Mercury went retrograde. This retrograde is going to last until the 24th of April. Through this retrograde, on the 11th of April, the Sun and Mercury will come into a conjunction in Aries. This is a Mercury retrograde in Aries. So it is taking us internal, exploring the way that we speak to ourselves and about ourselves. It's really doing some deep excavation work in the area of our solar plexus, in the area between what we feel and what we think about ourselves, and how we can often project that onto our relationships. And that's what this eclipse wormhole that we're navigating is all about. How do we stay whole unto self, embrace our full self capacity in relationship with others? And how can we stand up for ourselves in relationship to others without going into power plays, right? Whether that power play be manifesting as victim or oppressor, whether it's a manipulation, codependency, you know, all of these different ways that we play this power play game with one another throughout the, you know, the last couple thousand years, we're being asked to really look at that. So you may have noticed that you're being triggered a lot in that energy, that which you are, let's feel, that which you are assigning to your spouse, your significant other, your best friend, your mom, your dad, your kids, your boss, whatever the relationship might be, is being slammed back, mirrored back at you, so that you can see that you're assigning to another person a thought that you're actually having about yourself. You're assigning an emotion or an energy, a thought to someone so that you can see it and then connect to it and say, oh, why do I think that about myself? Why do I believe that about myself? Why do I feel that about myself? And through that, start to alchemize the energy, start to clear the energy, start to clear the field, as it were. This is Mercury retrograde in Aries during a Libra Aries eclipse wormhole. As we come into the Aries solar eclipse. Aries solar eclipse is happening on the 8th of April. It is making a massive shadow across a big swath of the United States. It's forming a cross with the Libra eclipse that we had last year in Texas. And some of you may be aware that back in December, I was called to that place of crossroads to do some grid work there in Texas. This time, for the Aries solar eclipse itself, I'm going to be in Arkansas. Right now I'm in North Carolina on the Serpent Line at Cape Fear, and tomorrow I'm going to Pilot Mountain to do some grid work with that hub, that center hub of a wheel of ley lines that intersects throughout all of the United States and beyond, of course. They all connect everywhere, right? This is a part of a sacred site journey that I'm facilitating, and the working circle that is our members portal, our Blue Flame members portal, is being carried along energetically, and we're all working together doing this powerful grid work. If that calls to you, links below. This Aries solar eclipse is one of the most powerful portals of energy of this entire year. This month of April is like a magical mystery tour of energetic activations. So let's kind of roll call a bit of them. I'm not going to bring all of them in here, but I'm going to highlight a few. So as I said, April 1st, we had Mercury's retrograde cycle beginning. Then tomorrow, April 5th, I'm recording this on the 4th. Tomorrow, April 5th, Venus enters Aries. On the 8th, we have that solar eclipse. On the 11th, the retrograde Mercury meets in conjunction with the Sun. I believe that this is also the exact date. Well, Saturn and Mars have an exact conjunction in Pisces, somewhere between the 8th and the 11th. They're basically conjunct during the eclipse. More on that in a minute. Then we fast forward a little bit to the 20th of April, which is also what we call Earth Day. It's also a celebration of something else, but that's neither here nor there. It's kind of fun though. But it is Earth Day. It is also the day that the sun enters Taurus. It is also the day that Jupiter and Uranus conjunct in Taurus. So this is powerful new Earth energy falling on Earth Day. The sun enters Taurus, the sign of earthly creation manifestation. Jupiter and Uranus come into conjunction in this sign on this day. We can feel this as expanding our connection to the new technologies, the new information available as Gaia's grid evolves and we evolve with her. I invite you to feel that for a few moments. Then as we move through that energy with it still very, very active, we have the full moon in Scorpio on the 23rd. And then on the 24th, Mercury turns around again. Now this, like I said, this is not a complete list. This is not everything that happens in April. It is a window, though, into the amount of energy that has been packed into this month. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, though, let's go back to this solar eclipse in Aries. During this solar eclipse, we have the sun, the moon, the north node, Chiron, and I'm going to check my notes because there's another one and I don't want to miss it. Yes, and Magdalena, all conjunct. The asteroid name for Magdalena. Magdalena is a reclaiming energy. It's a, I will not remain hidden. I will not allow others to tell my story for me. I am coming to tell my story, to reclaim my power, to share the truth of who I am, and I will not hide anymore. That's Magdalena energy. It's also very profound and powerful energy for rebirthing, for creative potential, for activating the light body, sometimes called the Ka body, for coming into spiritual mastery and full ownership of sexuality, whatever that sexuality may be. During this eclipse, the North Node is quite close to the sun. It's not exactly conjunct. However, Chiron is exactly conjunct the sun and moon. So we have the wounded healer, the master teacher, the energy that represents the greatest gifts of our potential residing within the space of our deepest wounds. That thing that we fear the most is actually the thing that we are most called to. It scares us because if we embrace it, we cannot hide anymore. We cannot hide anymore. You know, it's like me on this video screen now. It took me a while, many, many years, to get to a point where I was like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be on camera. And then once I was like, oh yeah, no, of course. But the idea of being on camera and talking to you all like this was scary to me for a long time. I had to do a lot of reclamation work. And now can you feel Magdalena in this conjunction? So we also have a Cardinal Grand Cross going on here. So of course, with the North Node being in Aries. So we have, in order, at 13 degrees, Magdalena, then the North Node right around 15 degrees, then the Sun and Chiron and the Moon all at 19 degrees of Aries. This means that we also have the South Node in Libra over there at 15 degrees. Then over in Cancer, Magdalena at 13 degrees is making an exact square and connecting us to the stellar dimension of Sirius and the asteroid Dragon Rosa, the rose dragon's frequency. And this is a frequency of empowered compassion and detached service. And can we feel the Libra Aries axis in that also? Empowered compassion and detached service. An ability to hold space fully and wholly, because you're not trying to fix someone else. You're not trying to do their work for them. You are simply witnessing and holding with love and compassion that which is in their highest good. Being a witness to their growth, to their beauty, to their love, to their deepest wounds, to their greatest fears. And this is how we can be whole to self. We can maintain our true sense of self, our I am presence, while in relationship with other, because we're not trying to alchemize their shit. We're not saying, oh, here, let me just do that for you. Oh, here, let me just do that for you. I was talking with someone the other day, facilitating a natal chart transmission for them, and the phrase, not trying to vacuum their house for them, kept coming through. And this is a very strong template of this energy. We're not going in and saying, you're just not working fast enough, you're not doing it right, let me just take care of that for you. That's very ego-centric. If we can stay in a state of empowered compassion and detached service, we can say, this person is moving through their cycle in the way that they can move through their cycle, in the way that most serves them. I can hold a space here, I can witness, I can even shine a light when that serves, but I'm not walking their path for them, which is actually a disservice. It's kind of that you can teach a man to fish sort of energy, right? Then over in Capricorn, we have Ceres at 17 degrees. Ceres is the goddess of the harvest. She is also known as Demeter, the mother of Persephone. The energy of Ceres is very connected to you reap what you sow. The seeds that you plant now are what you will be harvesting in the months, the days, the weeks, the months to come. And this connects us to one of the energies that I've been feeling really strongly about this Aries eclipse, which is that we are moving now into a birthing portal. We're moving into a birthing portal. The first half of this eclipse wormhole was very connected to letting go, to clearing out the old weeds, the stuff that was in the way, that was not ours anymore. It was actually impeding the growth of anything that we might plant. Old stories and narratives that we have told ourselves, about the earth, about our friends and our families. This next part of the eclipse wormhole that we're in, and what is carrying us through the next cycle, and this next cycle runs straight through the summer and all the way through the rest of this year. Really, it's running until the nodes shift again, but the eclipses that we're going to have in October are kind of pushing the cycle. this is the seeding, the birthing. So for some of us, it will actually be coming into a rebirth. Although I feel like for pretty much all of us, we're not going to start to connect to that until May. So much of this month is needing to activate, to come into growth cycles and growth cycles and growth cycles. And then as we come into May, the way I've been feeling it is that it's going to have a lot of like integration and equalizing of everything that we have come through. So something to share about eclipses. I call them eclipse wormholes because there's always at least two, sometimes there's three even. But you come through and you get kind of stretched out, and then you pop out the other side, but you're not fully formed when you come out. All of the information, the codes, the transformation comes through, and it's like the caterpillar going into the cocoon, becoming the goo. That's that wormhole part. You're the goo. Everything is so liminal. It can be hard to place a finger or a thought or a word or even a feeling on what you're experiencing. You just know it's profoundly transformative. And then as you start to come out the other side of the eclipse wormhole, you emerge, but you need to take time. You're the butterfly. You've stretched your wings, you've eaten your cocoon, but you need to sit there. You need to let your wings dry. You need to gather your strength and yourself into yourself, realize that you even have wings that you could fly with before you start taking off and pollinating and doing all of the wonderful butterfly things, right? So as we come out of the eclipse wormhole on the 9th, like the 8th into the 9th, we have this beautiful like wing drying and remembering our embodied existence. And isn't it lovely that during this time we get the sun moving into Taurus, we get to experience the sun coming into conjunction with a retrograde Mercury in Aries to say, what is in there? What did I learn about myself? What did I learn about myself? And then that Jupiter Uranus conjunction in Taurus as the sun enters Taurus, really saying, now how do I embody this? How do I expand my access to the fullness of my embodied potential? My ability to create in this form. And part of this feels to me, I'll share, like the integration that we are receiving during that Mercury Sun conjunction on the 11th, that, yeah, who am I now? Who am I now? Invites us to take a moment and connect to the emotional and mental rewiring that has been occurring, to allow ourselves to really experience coherent thought, feeling, sensory experience. And from that, then as the sun moves into Taurus and Jupiter and Uranus conjunct there, we bring that even more into our physical, manifestational, creative bodies, our physical bodies. And through this then connect to how much what we feel and speak and think, our senses are creating the world around us. It is a co-creation with the senses of every other living being, elemental, physical, etheric, that exists within this earth plane, of course. There's one more piece that I want to call in before we close this energy update, and that is that during this eclipse, the North Node in particular, but the entire conjunction of Magdalena, North Node, Sun, Moon, and Chiron will all be in an exact trine with the Great Attractor. Now, the Great Attractor is that beautiful energy of clearing out debris that has been kicked up, very quickly transmuting, sucking out that which is no longer needed. And with this Sun, Moon, Chiron conjunction, that means that we get to connect deep within us at the moment of this eclipse, as the Sun and Moon join together, and visually, from our perspective on Earth, day turns to night. Day will turn to night. We come into the depths, into that space of the no thing where everything is created. And as this is happening, we're connected into where we've been creating our identity, our sense of self, our I am presence, from a place of not enoughness, of I'll be rejected if, from questions of whether or not we'll be abandoned, rejected, left alone, out in the cold, starving, if we express our whole true self, if we create from that place. And the Great Attractor has come in this gifting trine to be like, let me just take that for you. If we are willing to let it go, and that's a big if, because we can get some pretty powerful rigor mortis when it comes to letting go of these sorts of belief systems. The idea that if we share our love, it will be used against us, is deeply ingrained in a lot of us when we're in human incarnation, especially right now. The density of the world, the loudness, the chaos of all that's falling away, we can get really locked in on it. And so as the Great Attractor is here, saying, I can take that. I can take that. If you are willing to release it, to be returned to the space of the no thing, so that it can be transmuted and transformed into its next highest expression, I can take that and I can do it quickly. Your job is to actually let it go. To visualize it perhaps as so many seeds on a dandelion froth. The wind blowing, the suction of the Great Attractor, helping to pull all of those seeds so that they may be planted in the rich loam and bear fruit in that way which most serves. And thereby lightening your load so that you can come more fully into your truest expression of self. Let me feel if there's any other piece that really wants to be shared in this moment. I can share that through this entire month of April, as we're moving through all of this energy, I will be continuing this sacred site journeying and carrying with us, with with me the working circle that is the members portal, and I'm being called right now. I'm in the Cape Fear, Wilmington, North Carolina area, and I'm actually being called to a southeast to northwest trajectory, coast to coast, and I'm going to be during the Jupiter Uranus conjunction, the Scorpio full moon, and the Mercury stationing and turning back around. I'm going to be working with energies in the Pacific Northwest state of Washington in particular. I suppose I'm weaving this in here to just invite you all to come over and check out the Patreon, to the members portal, whether it's becoming a member of the community or actually becoming a member of the working circle, i.e. being a free community member or being someone who helps support the journey. It would be amazing to welcome you over there. I would also love to hear from you if it calls. What does it mean to you when you hear, what do you feel, what do you think when it comes in to share that such a big part of this portal that we're currently navigating, this wormhole that we're navigating, is actually a remapping of the lines, the internal structures, the energetic structures that connect our emotional and mental planes. This to remember within ourselves that they are part of the same, that they are meant to work in union, and that these energy bodies are actually unifying. Anything else that you feel called to weave about how you're journeying through this very, 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 very intense energy? I am so excited and grateful to share and hold space for you in the comments about that as well. Isis and Ixion, who I spoke about in the last update, are going to be exactly conjunct in Capricorn during this eclipse, this Aries eclipse as well. And if you remember from the last update, Ixion is very connected to those beliefs that we have that something is unforgivable, that an act is beyond forgiveness. And in particular, for ourselves energetically, it represents those places where we believe ourselves unredeemable. In Capricorn, this energy is inviting us to explore how the foundations that we have built our world upon. Remember, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the Lord of Karma. So really, it's inviting us to explore the karma that we've been carrying around from the idea of the fallen angels or original sin, from this idea that to be born in a human body is a sin. And also that there is some unredeemable factor in us, that we are born of sin. And to come into a new relationship with that. Isis is the energy of the rebirth, of resurrection, of remembering. And this energy in conjunction together in Capricorn, they are not part of the Cardinal Grand Cross, but they're close to where Mary Magdalene has her asteroid. They're at 6 degrees of Capricorn, and remember, Magdalene is at 13. So they're still touching in on this eclipse energy. And they're really saying, hey, like the great attractor, if you can let that go, if you can remember within yourself forgiveness, that you have already been forgiven, if you can look around and you can see the forgiveness, the love that is all around, you can start to really unload a lot of the baggage, a lot of that karmic baggage that you've been carrying around. And so much of our energy right now, this cycle that we're birthing into, this Aquarian age, this new 26,000 year cycle that we have come into already now, is inviting us to come into a new relationship with karma. I've shared a lot about that in various videos, but it feels important to end today's update, this transmission, with a remembering that karma is simply the things that we wanted to remember in each incarnation. It is not necessarily you did this bad thing A over here, and now in lifetime C, you've got to pay the piper. Now, of course, Ceres would say you reap what you sow, but these are fruits, these are seeds, they are kernels that you can, with love and compassion and forgiveness, say, oh, here, now I can see. And within each fruit are so many more seeds that you may plant something new with. And that's what the karmic journey is. It's harvesting from where you've been to plant seeds for where you're going. With that, I will close today and share so much and many loves with you all, as always, in the always, from, through, and beyond the all dimensions.